What up, y'all? Back again. This is Boston, Massachusetts. You'll see there's not a whole lot of people in the very beginning here, but it was here already, and these are the new occupiers after the Millennial Kingdom ended and we reoccupied it for the short season. You'll find a lot of these buildings will be top heavy, or they needed to dig them out further, and there was these amazing buildings, amazing architecture with no real infrastructure around it. It was all mudded out. They'll show these skies that are yellow, and you'll see like sometimes the pillars going into the ground, and then they'll have dug them out further later, and that's showing you that they had to dig the city out. A lot of these cities, you'll find photos of them digging out. That's what we build today. We don't build these structures with the windows going into the ground because there was a worldwide catastrophe in 1812 before the rest of the dead came back, as spoken of in the Word. And so there's some technology you'll see that's still up and around, but they wouldn't build these kind of buildings without having the infrastructure built first around it to some degree. You'll see technology, antiquitech from the past civilization, and it's all been covered up. See how the windows going into the ground because there was a worldwide catastrophe. And these are HD pictures most of the time, but they'll tell you that HD didn't exist back then. They'll put steps going into second floor windows, and the windows were as big as doors back then because they had giants before us. The saints were bigger than us. This is all America. Does that look like America to you? And you'll find the first early photos where there's no people. That's also in America. Same engineer, supposedly, that built all these structures. That's what they do. Artificial intelligence posted one engineer to build all these amazing structures in short periods of time, like 1 year, without any power tools and just a horse and a chisel and a couple of men. Somehow they dragged all that there in the early 1800s and built it with nothing around it. And so I'm trying to enlighten y'all. Some people have a hard time with it. Some people yap back about how this is a stupid idea, but it's not an idea, it's a fact. We can't build these structures today, most of them. And if we could, we'd have to throw millions and hundreds of millions of dollars at some of them. And we still wouldn't get it right. Like, look at that glorious structure. And they were all repurposed. There'll be post offices, insane asylums, all weird stuff, cathedrals. We don't even know if cathedrals were used for cathedrals, for churches. This one here has some weird technology that they've covered up, like magnetic technology that uses the bedrock to create some sort of energy. So they built walls around it so none of the people will see it. But it's old world technology. Look at those pillars in America. They're tiny people. A lot of this stuff's all demolished because they like to get rid of it all. And it came from a time where you didn't need any kind of heating and air conditioning because there was no ice and snow on the maps back then until 1812. And most of us think that the saints were able to regulate their own bodies during that time. They were different than us. They were more gigantic. But there were regular people here as well. Those are some of the people that came back. The first generation is called the lost generation, probably because if your history is fake, your future is fake. And it will make you lost. And the lost people always follow the people who created the fake history, thinking it's real. So, seems like children started coming out of Cabbage Patches, and now that's why they had the Cabbage Patch Kid later. It kind of muddies up things when you say something like Cabbage Patch Kid and you think of the toy. But in the early 1800s, that's what was occurring, it seems as if. And the few stoic people that were here, I believe, were the fallen ones coming back with the enemy Satan. And they were shipping children all over the earth. And they were probably teaching them culture because they could speak any language. But the people looked like the narcissists with that blank stare. They weren't, you could tell, good people. It's probably why we have narcissism so rampant in this world today, because we were probably raised, our great-grandparents were probably raised by these crazy people. But look at these structures, man. Who built them without power tools and cranes and trucks? No, nothing, no power at all. Some structures, that's top heavy, that's Rome being dug out. Look at this underground, they found all that. Any structure that's before the 1800s, you dig it out and you'll find something. Thank you.